I keep my goals to myself, cause whenever I share it with folks, they get a look upon their face and their memory floats to a time where their goals and the stars.
What's good? We're going to get into AEW Dynamite from June the 10th, 2026. This was a pretty boring and bland show. Not much happened on this show. We're still building towards Forbidden Door. That'll be in a couple of weeks. So there were a couple of more matches that were announced on this show, so it is what it is. Don't really care too much about Forbidden Door, for being honest. Not much occurred on this show. I did like the match between Pac and Mark Briscoe. I thought that was pretty decent there. Other than that, this show is just boring and bland. And Darby Allin is back, so that's pretty cool, I guess. So there's that. So we kicked the show off with Tommaso Ciampa. This was bad. So Tommaso Ciampa, he demanded that Tony Schiavone tell everyone that he's better than Chris Jericho. Tony Schiavone refuses. Tommaso Ciampa bullies him into a corner. Chris Jericho comes out to make the save. He makes fun of Tommaso Ciampa for being bald, and he calls him Tommy. Tommaso Ciampa says even his own mom doesn't even call him that. Jericho says Tommy's mommy, and then that breaks out into a chant, which is kind of funny. Ciampa asks Chris Jericho if he thinks that he's a joke, and Jericho gets serious and talks about making his return to AEW, and that Tommaso Ciampa is a very angry man. And then Chris Jericho suggests that Tommaso Ciampa take that stick out of his ass before he sticks it up even further. Pause. So then this pisses off Tommaso Ciampa, and then they end up brawling, and security comes out to break everything up. It is what it is. Why is Chris Jericho feuding with Tommaso Ciampa? What's the backstory to this? Why did Tommaso Ciampa just randomly attack Chris Jericho? I like it, but we didn't need this segment here. We needed a real serious promo from Tommaso Ciampa, at least 2 or 3 minutes as to why he attacked Chris Jericho and what's the end goal to all this shit, right? Like, this is stuff that I can't stand, but whatever. It is what it is. It doesn't matter at this point. I don't give a damn. I think Jericho's just focused on going back to WWE, and I don't blame him for that one. But him feuding with Tommaso Ciampa should be okay, but we need to know the why as to why Tommaso Ciampa and Chris Jericho are feuding. And hopefully we'll get an answer to that question at some point, but I doubt it. Moving on from that, Don Callis, he's with Kevin Knight backstage. Andrade Idolo shows up. He asks Don Callis if he's with him or Kevin Knight. Don Callis assures him that everything is good. Okay, that's fine, whatever. So apparently we know that Andrade at some point's going to get kicked out of the Don Callis family, or he's going to do what Takeshita did and, eventually get excommunicated from the family. So, whatever. Moving on, this leads us into the first match of the night, which I didn't watch. I didn't care about it. Jon Moxley defeats Shane Taylor. He retains the AEW Continental Championship. I don't give a fuck about this. Jon Moxley is at the bottom of the barrel right now. He's feuding with Ring of Honor talent. He's feuding with Ring of Honor talent. Oh my gosh, this is sad. This is sad. I don't know what to even say. I don't know what to even say. Whatever, man. Whatever. Moving on, we get a vignette featuring Mercedes Moné. So she talks about being on the sidelines for the past 6 months as she watched the women in AEW miss opportunities and wasted time, and now she's back. Okay, I like that. That's fine there. Good stuff there. Good stuff. Hopefully the build to Tekla versus Mercedes at All In is going to be good. They need to start that build immediately after Forbidden Door is over with. So, there's that. Moving on, this leads us into Kevin Knight, he's introduced by Don Callis. Kevin Knight really got no reaction because the Don Callis family sucks. Kevin Knight says that everyone's upset with him when they should be upset with Darby Allin for letting them all down. Kevin Knight says they should be upset with Mike Bailey for breaking up Jet Speed. Kevin Knight says that Don Callis saw him as the biggest star, not in the family, and now that they're linked up and heading for Jet 2 belts. So Kevin Knight then calls out MJF, but Darby Allin shows up, gets a pretty decent reaction. He attacks him with the skateboard and everything else. Darby then gets on the mic and tells Kevin Knight he hopes it was worth it, and he attempts to go for the coffin drop, but the other members show up to make the save, and Jake Dole is back. Okay, that's fine. It is what it is. This is fine. I like this. So Darby was gone for a good 2-3 weeks, which is fine. I like this. Their match should take place at Forbidden Door. If not, it'll definitely take place on Dynamite in the next couple of weeks, maybe after it or whatever. So this is fine. I like this, though. This was okay in my book. Moving on from that, this leads us into Mark Briscoe. He defeated Pac in a pretty decent match. Mark Briscoe wins via the J Driller. So post-match, Mark Briscoe gets on the mic, and MJF's in the crowd. MJF says that Mark Briscoe's not a great listener. MJF says that he's the law and the final word in AEW, and his word is final. And Mark Briscoe getting a title shot. The answer once again is no. MJF says that he's the rising tide of AEW, and Mark Briscoe is nothing but an anchor. I like that. MJF says that he's protecting the world title from people like Mark Briscoe, and it's funny that Mark Briscoe has friends in the conglomeration. MJF says that he didn't need friends because money talks. So out of nowhere, I think Jay Lethal and some other guy attacks Mark Briscoe from behind. Mark Briscoe fights them off for a brief moment. Then the conglomeration comes out and makes the save, and they brawl. Then Mark Briscoe gets on the mic and says that MJF isn't the boss, he's an asshole. Mark Briscoe says that MJF is going to need to find some friends or pay some people. Because Mark Briscoe talked to Tony Khan, and Mark Briscoe said Tony Khan told him to go find 5 friends, and MJF needs to find 5 friends. There's going to be a 6-on-6 steel cage match at Forbidden Door. Mark Briscoe told him that if his team wins, then he'll get a guaranteed world title shot. Okay, that's fine. This is good stuff there. I like this. This is fine. I don't expect for Mark Briscoe's team to win at all. The conglomeration, they're definitely going to lose, right? Because we know that they're still going to end up doing MJF and Mark Briscoe, probably on television, probably a few weeks, maybe a couple weeks after Forbidden Door, leading up to Redemption. So I think that's what's going to end up happening. All right, moving on from that. Andrade defeats Orange Cassidy. I didn't even watch this match, really. There was a spot in the match where Orange Cassidy and Andrade, they locked up. Orange Cassidy ripped his pants, only to reveal another pair of pants. And after that, I was just like, man, fuck this shit. So Andrade gets the win via, is it the message or whatever? I forgot what he calls his finisher. It's the DM, it's the DDM or something like that or whatever. I don't fucking know. I can't remember. But whatever. It's fine. I don't care about this shit at all. I really don't. I want more for Andrade. I really do. Again, I'm hoping that they put Andrade with Roosh, and then whenever Santos Escobar comes in, you can put them as a trio. I think that would be pretty nice right there. I hope it happens. Moving on from that, this leads us into Will Ospreay. He was on this show. He cut a promo. He said that the semifinals are done, but he feels like he got hit by a truck. Will Ospreay says that Mark Davis is stronger than he remembered, but he owes something to the Death Riders. Then Alex Windsor, Miss Ospreay, she came up to him and hugged him, started crying and everything else for whatever reason. I have no idea why. It was kind of weird and odd, but it is what it is. Maybe she was crying because she lost her opportunity last week. I don't know, but it was weird. I was like, what the fuck's going on here? This is very, very weird. But it is what it is, though. I mean, this is fine. Moving on, John Moxley's backstage. He says Shane Taylor could have walked away with his pride. So Brenda Shafir says she's going to beat down Trish Adora with every weapon she has, and then Daniel Garcia proceeds to challenge them for collision to a 5-on-5 street fight. What the fuck is this? Who cares? Moving on. Milo World defeats Sky Blue. She advances in the Owen, the women's Owen. Maya World lost her brother, so rest in peace, rest in paradise, rest in power. Her family is in our hearts, thoughts, and prayers, and we send our condolences to her family at this time. So Maya World winning is fine, that's fine. Moving on, this leads us into Zack Sabre Jr. We get a vignette for him. He basically wants to challenge Kenny Omega to wrestle him at Forbidden Door, and Kenny Omega has accepted, so the match is going to be official. Whatever, I don't give a fuck about this, a single fuck about this at all. This is a waste of time. Really, it truly is. Moving on, this leads us into the Don Callis family. They're backstage, so MJF shows up. He brings up the steel cage match at Forbidden Door, the 5-on-5. MJF says that he needs Don Callis, 5 of Don Callis' top 5 guys. Don Callis tells MJF that he just can't get them like Travis and me at the Butcher. MJF then opens up a briefcase full of money, and Don Callis accepts. MJF says that he'll pick 5 of them and needs about a week to decide. Andrade tries to step up to MJF, but Kevin Knight cuts him off and says if MJF is looking for top guys, he's right here. And then Kevin Knight proceeds to challenge MJF to a rematch for the world title, and MJF agrees. He says when he beats Kevin Knight, there will not be another. Kevin Knight agrees, and then they shake hands. And then all the family, they leave, except for Don Callis and Andrade. Andrade once again asks about his world title shot. Don Callis promises Andrade that he's going to get another title shot. I mean that he will get a shot. Okay, that's fine, whatever. I don't really care about this. It'll probably be Kyle Fletcher, Andrade, maybe Jake Dole, and maybe Lance Archer or something like that. I don't fucking know, man. The Don Callis family is a shitty faction. Again, if it was just like 4 guys, like I said before, if it was just like Kyle Fletcher, Josh Alexander, Okada, and maybe somebody like Jake Dole, then that could be fine. But the Don Callis family is just total ass. It's just total ass cheeks. Just pathetic. Pathetic. Main event of the evening, Swerve defeats Brody King. He advances in the final. So it's going to be Swerve versus Will Ospreay. Who cares? We all knew this was going to happen. I just don't give a shit about this at all. Swerve winning is fine. It is what it is. I don't care about this at all. Whatever. Who cares? And that was Dynamite. I know it was exciting, wasn't it? No, it wasn't. It was absolutely boring. And these shows are just dreadful, man. Like, people think that AEW pay-per-views are exciting and fun. Not really. Like, outside of a few matches, like 3 or 4 matches on these shows or for pay-per-views, the matches are largely too long for pay-per-view. It's largely too long. And it's usually about 3 or 4 matches that most people like anyway. And everything else, in my opinion, is just there. And that's how I feel about it. Like, again, all 3 companies are on cruise control. WWE, AEW, and TNA. All 3 major promotions are on cruise control, and they don't care. I mean, people should realize that WWE, AEW, and TNA do not care about their weekly shows. And to be honest, they don't even care about their pay-per-views, if we're being honest. I mean, that's just the way I see it. The weekly shows, they don't give a fuck about. Sometimes WWE and AEW, TNA will care about pay-per-views. Sometimes, most of the time, they won't. But it is what it is. But this show was kind of boring. Well, it was boring and a waste of time. But what did you guys think? Let me know. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.